Hello, everyone. Today we'll be doing a podcast and we'll be discussing religions. First off, my name is Omar.
Hello everyone, to talk about my religion. My name is Yahya.
Hello everyone, I'm going to be talking about my religion. My name is Hamza.
Hello, is my name Hamza.
Hinduism.
Hinduism.
Okay, so first of all, I will talk about a religion that's mostly out of the conversation, atheism.
First, I will talk about my religion. It's called Zoroastrianism.
I will talk about my religion, Buddhism.
So tell me, Yahya, what does your religion based upon on?
Today, I will talk about Zoroastrianism. It is originating in ancient Persia over 3,000 years ago. Zoroastrianism was founded by with prophet-faith centers around the worship of Mazada, the supreme god representing truth, light, and order in a constant struggle against the forces of truth and evil.
Hello, I'm Hamza, and my religion, Buddhism, talks about people who go to Nirvana, which is becoming part together with God.
So what is this nirvana?
It is ascending to heaven and becoming omnipotent, which is all-knowing and all-seeing, becoming one with God.
And there are people today that believe in this.
Yes, there are.
Do you know how many exactly, or where do they live?
I do not know the exact number, but they originate mainly in Asia.
Really? What about you?
Zoroastrianism is introduced powerful concepts like the battle between good and evil, free will, and judgment after death. Ideas that would go into influence many later religions.
Really? Did you know that atheists believe that none of that happened?
Yes.
Atheists actually believe that everything in the world is based upon science. That there is no place after death. What do you think about after death with your religion?
After death, ideas would go into influence many later religions. Tough to its followers are fewer today. Zoroastrianism legacy still echoes through time, especially in the ethical foundation of modern faiths. What about you?
Atheists have this very weird point of view where they think that after death, it's like before you were born. Like, think about it. What do you remember before you were born? Nothing. It's just darkness. They think that after you die, it's gonna be the same thing. And I think it's like a very scary point of view. And I don't blame them for thinking it's scary. But also, like, I think that there is something after death. I don't think we just die. And that's where my religion comes from, which is Islam. What happens in your religion after death?
There are 2 points of view in my religion, Buddhism. Either they would ascend to Nirvana and become one with God, but for them it was something that required many lifetimes for them to become. And if they didn't ascend to Nirvana, then they would just rebirth. If you had good karma, then you would rebirth as a human who was wealthy. But if you had bad karma, you'd return as one who was very financially poor or bad health. But if you had very bad karma, you could even become an animal or even inanimate objects like trees.
Really? And do you think that this is a valid point of view?
No, I do not. Because personally, if this was true, how come we have never heard of someone who has really rebirthed? Why haven't they come up to talk?
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I also think that, like, if people were always reborn, then there would be like people and death would have to be the exact same. But with modern technology, people die less than people that are born, if I'm right. So, yeah, tell us, what happens after the death
In my religion, Zoroastrianism, after death, the soul stays near the body for 3 days. On the fourth day, it crosses the Shenaved bridge The bridge of judgment. If a person lived a righteous life, the bridge comes wide and easy to cross, leading the soul to paradise. But if they lived a life of evil, the bridge narrows and the soul falls into a dark gleam of suffering.
Really? So, you know, that actually like reminds me of something in my deen Islam, the As-Sirat al-Mustaqim. If you're righteous, it will be very wide and easy to cross. Do you think that maybe they took that idea from Islam?
Yes, in Zoroastrianism, they have a bridge. If you are good, the bridge over wide and grows. If you are evil, it narrows and gets more.
Yeah, and that makes you go to what they think is heaven,
Yes.
right? What do you think about this?
I personally think that they might have taken this from Islam, considering it is very similar to what we believe in. Because it also, from what I believe, Islam has been there for longer than many other religions, as we believe it has been there since Adam alayhi salam was born.
Now we'll be doing our second segment in this podcast, which is why Islam is the truth. We will now talk about why we think is wrong the religion that we have chosen and what's right. First of all, we'll start with Hamza.
I personally think Islam is right because Buddhism has many factors that do not make sense. Becoming one with God does not make sense. A creator fusing with the creation has no correlation and does not make sense. Along with the fact that being reborn doesn't make sense. And since they never say that your memories are removed. So if that were true, there would be many kids acting as adults, proving that this could be true.
I actually think what you said is very on point. And also, like, from what I see, like, the faith of Buddhism isn't good at all. If you're a Buddhist, that means that the people who are in need and people who have a bad life, you would just trash them more and make their lives worse because you think they did bad in their past lives. And I really think that, like, it should be more like Islam, where the forgiving is there always, and you always treat everyone with a nice way. I'm now gonna talk about the atheism point of view. Atheism really think that from the start of time until today, it's all been coincidences. And to be honest, I think that's very far from the truth. Because it would take so many coincidences to get to where we are today. Like, they believe it started with the Big Bang. And they believe that it's very, very slim chances. And like, look at anything. Look at how perfect the human body is. The human body, like, it cannot be like this except if there is a greater being who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who created us in this very perfect way. What do you think, Yahya, about this?
I believe more in Islam than my religion, Zoroastrianism. Many Muslims believe that Islam is the truth because it is a final and complete message from God. And it's delivered from Prophet Muhammad. And the Quran is Islam's holy book is viewed as a direct revelation from God.
Yeah, so you think it's better than Zoroastrianism, right? And also the faith is very good and makes everyone good. What do you think, Hamza? Islam? Are you a Muslim?
Islam.
Yes, you pray 5 salahs? Well, yes.
Yes.
Gada, Hamza. Okay. Now we will make our final segment and we will tell you about some very interesting informations that were found in the Quran over 1400 years ago that scientists just recently discovered. First of all, and I really like this one, in Surah Al-Hadid, Allah mentions that, and we sent down iron in which is strong material. And the modern discovery is that scientists found that iron isn't native to Earth. It was actually formed in supernovas and came down to Earth from meteorites, which literally makes iron sent from space.
On my part, I will talk about something happened and it's mentioned in the Quran. That development of human embryos. That we created a man from an exert of clay. Then we made him a drop in a secure place. Then we made the drop into clinging cloth. Then we made the cloth into a lamp in Surah Al-Mu'mineen.
I will talk about something I know personally myself. It is about El Fir'aun and when the sea closed in on him. A scientific discovery that happened a few years ago found that a scientist had just recently found out that he had been drowned in water, while the Quran, which was made 1400 years ago, had already knew about it.
Yeah, that just proves more that the Quran was the truth, and that the events that were taking place actually did take place, and science proves that. I would also advise all of our viewers, if they would like to dig deeper into this topic, and they could search themselves, and they will find many, many truths that were in the Quran over 1400 years ago. We thank you all for listening to this podcast, and tune in to the next one.